We are back again with another episode of the Childish Grownups Show. If y'all on the YouTube, y'all see it's 2 out of 3 of us. Well, there's a third. Remember, there's my son as well. But Ash is on leave at the moment, but she will be back soon. So don't worry. Rest your little heads. But I am here with one of the other co-hosts, Mia G. How you doing?
Doing good, ready for the weekend.
Oh yeah.
Going to see Sinners for the second time.
Hey man, you shouldn't even said that, bro. I'm mad because I ain't see it the first time. Yeah, don't even.
Really, really,
I'm going to see it. Like, this is not. I
curious to
refuse.
hear what you have to say about it because you're a wild card, Mo.
I think we're both wild cards. We're like on the other side of the spectrum. I think that's what makes it like it is. Is we?
I don't know. I got the
You still on that what
Harriet
is it? Harriet the Spy. But ever since then, you've been looking at me different. You've been looking at me different since that episode.
Mm-hmm.
It's like
Don't when you see it, don't come on here talking crazy.
All right. I believe it's gonna be great. I listened to that interview on Breakfast Club, and I loved what I heard from Ryan Coogler. And for me, I'm finishing up my last season of my audio drama, so I love like directing, producing, writing. I love like how greatness comes together in the like details that are not the flyest or not the funnest. It's actually like the laboring. I like that type of stuff. So
okay.
So yeah.
See, we here with that.
Okay.
I always wanted to be a filmmaker. I wanted to be behind the camera. I used to want to be a writer director.
Okay. Have you ever thought about acting?
Acting, I thought about it. I'm shy.
Yeah, okay. I could see that.
I feel like I would be good at it, but I don't know.
What about voice acting?
I thought about that too. I've been told that I have a unique voice or a unique tone to my voice. Probably because I'm a little lispy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm same here on that. Yeah,
I would do it. I would definitely do it.
Okay, I'll be hollering at you.
Oh, word.
I got I'm not gonna spoil anything if people happen to listen to this show and the role. I got some ideas. I want to do a woman lead in the same style in which I've done with the male lead. Really take a stab at writing in that perspective. There's been some stuff in this season, in previous seasons too, that I've wrote, and even I listen back and I'm like, man, where did I pull that from? And I'm like, I think I can really take a stab at writing for a woman lead, and I got a lot of women listeners, so I think that they would appreciate, the story of one of these said characters. So, but that's something we'll talk about if you're interested in. I won't put you on the spot or nothing like that.
Absolutely. But, and we'll talk about it.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I'm feeling good as well. Just had a birthday, me and your daughter. We both have 21st centuries over here. April, you know what I mean? And so it was cool. It was cool. Huh?
Tauruses.
Oh yeah. Don't do that. Don't do that now. Come on, they gotta love us. Like, you need the Tauruses is gonna get the job done. You know what I mean?
Mama C as well.
Hey, shout out to Mama C. She feel me. You know what I mean? If anybody feel me, she feel me. Speaking of Mama C, she did leave a comment on our last episode of Three Ninjas. She said, really enjoyed this episode. I have the same game your uncle have, and I think the grown-ups play more than the kids. In my Stevie Wonder voice singing happy birthday to you. Mo, enjoy your day. Oh, mama C. You shouldn't have, really, but thank you. I appreciate that. That's dope. She played video games.
Listen,
Who is your
I don't
mama?
remember her playing no video games, but maybe she did.
Who is your mama?
She's an interesting character. I think she has a lot to do with my pick for our next
Uh
category.
oh. I can't wait because last time she had something to do with your pick. You brought us into a world, and I was shocked at how much I really liked the movie, which was a Christmas Story, right?
Yeah.
So if it's anything like that, like as far as that nostalgic, like even prior to us, I'm very interested. So or just in general, like I like that connection that Mama C is consistently, tapped in and stuff. So we're gonna see what's up. But y'all know we are here. Y'all know that y'all didn't get this on Wednesdays because these are our TGIF episodes. What we like to do here on this is we like to cover nostalgic television, maybe not always back in the 90s, the 80s, 2000s, whatever have you, but we try to keep it scaled back as much as possible. We don't want to try to get too new age because our podcast is more of a nostalgic podcast, but sometimes it be like that. So what we got is 10 characters that we changed our mind about. And Ash is not here in the physical, but she is here in spirit, and she was gracious enough to send us a voice note.
Yeah.
So we will be also hearing from her through the voice note and reacting to some of the things that she's saying. For the record, I have not heard these, nor has Mia G, so we still get the element of surprise. Okay, so Mia G, how about we jump right into here? What?
Hey.
No, in no particular order, like ranked or anything like that. But I can't wait to see where you're going.
Oh man. Okay. So the first character that I changed my mind about, and this might come as a shock to you, but it's gonna have to be Miss Carrie Bradshaw of Sex and the City.
Ooh, what did you first think about her?
So coming up, like my first original watching this as a kid and then watching it as like a young adult, teen, young adult, I really thought that Carrie could do no wrong. I was always on her side. I always felt like because she was the main character, I was following her story. So everything that happened, I always felt like it was from her perspective. So she was the good guy, the protagonist. Now, watching it as a more seasoned adult of almost 35, you know.
Yo, did she say her
Um,
age on here? What? Look
I
at
will be 35.
you.
Okay.
Come on now. Hey,
But
listen. It's a new era, man. We admitting ages out here.
because,
Yeah.
we don't do ageism anymore. The women are fine in their 30s, 40s, and 50s and
I
beyond
mean,
60s.
I mean, you know, ain't nothing wrong with it, you know?
But yeah, Carrie was hella problematic. She was a problematic person. She made and not to say that I don't like the character anymore because I still love the character of Carrie Bradshaw, but now I look at it more realistically. Like it's no
Mm-hmm.
longer Carrie can do no wrong and Carrie was always in the right. It's more so Carrie is a nuanced, flawed character who made a lot of human decisions, some that weren't necessarily the right decision.
Mm. I got a couple of things, and the character I'm gonna get into is, I think, almost the Carrie equivalent on the black side.
Okay.
So
Ooh,
you
I
know
think
where
we
I'm
might
going.
both
You
have that one.
know where I'm going. But before I get there, I'm just about done with Sex in the City, and of course, the famous, infamous, whatever, however you want to word it, the Aiden story,
Mhm.
bruh. Bruh, that was so crazy. It that's almost worthy of turning it off. Turn his TV off. Turn his TV off. Like, cause it was so ridiculous. And it's
Okay,
a
I have
real
to ask
uh-huh.
which part of the Aidens, because there are
The
two
second. I
Okay.
got through the full arc of Aiden came back, got in his bag, lost a little weight, cut his hair, became a businessman, and that, and then to do the double time it is like that's crazy. Like he took you back after you cheated,
She got
and
my boy bad twice.
man, bro, that couldn't have been me. I would have been petty with dedication. Like you wouldn't have been able to pay your side of that rent. You would have been out on the street. All nice, and I hope everything works out for you. I hate to, I hate to do this to you, but you know, maybe this is best for it. Like, bruh, because that is ridiculous how she did my man's. But there is this woman that's on YouTube, this black woman that talked about why Aiden, I think Aiden Ross, no, it may not be that. I may think somebody else, but why Aiden deserved it. And she getting busy because he did kind of like, you knew who she was, but you kind of thought that you can change her, maybe. But yeah,
Can't disagree with that.
which is a good point. I will say, Carrie, I obviously I didn't grow up with this show, but I was aware of it. Carrie is she's a really dope character, even set aside that, because to me, I think that she has an untraditional look to her that because of how she carries it, it's attractive. I think the fashion is ridiculous.
Listen,
Boy, Carrie Bradshaw gotta be one of the flyest chicks,
listen.
bro.
I follow a page on Instagram just for Carrie Bradshaw's outfit. It's called Carrie Bradshaw's outfit.
And hey, listen, she get bit. I don't know who was on the wardrobe team, but
I used to know all of the answers to these questions because I know for the spinoff, they changed the costume designers. And some of the choices I was like, old girl would never have put them in that because was phenomenal. The fashions, not even just Carrie, like Carrie had the best.
Yeah, she had the best, of course.
All of them had their own style, but in each one was just so phenomenally done. I love like you end up watching Sex and the City for the fashion, especially when you get to later seasons. And the movie is like, ooh.
They get busy. Like, and I'm not one to really look at women's fashion, but it was like so exceptional. It caught my eye. I'm like, damn, where are you getting this? Like this, like, bro, you got like the, you know what I mean? You got the fruity colors with the pumps with the heels. Then you turn around, you got like, bro, it's ridiculous, like how fly it is on there. So, but that brings me to what I alluded to before, from the show Girlfriends. Joan Clayton. Now, as a kid watching this show, teenager, my mom was really into it. This was 2000s Insecure, I would say, like I've said before, kind of like in a sitcom form. And Joan Clayton, as a kid, my mom kind of idolized her because her fashion as well was really fly, professional. And she was the type of woman that had, you got kind of like the everyday woman, kind of, so to speak. All of them had different archetypes. You got kind of like the ghetto, you got the bougie, you got the artsy, and then you got Joan as your everyday woman. So as a kid, I didn't think nothing was really wrong. I felt like I understood like Joan's plight. I was like, okay, I understand. She's asking questions that you should ask as as a woman, I would imagine. As I've gotten older, I said, oh, she's terrible. She is terrible. Like the way she did Brock. Is that it? Brock? Bro, the way she did Brock, that alone, like I was like, bro, I can't stand you. Like immediately, because it's like, which again, fair depiction, because sometimes that happens. Sometimes men just like, hey, they try to do whatever to appeal to the woman, and sometimes women don't always know what they want. Not all women, but some women, And so it was a fair depiction, I think, very on the money. But man, bro, that had me hot. This man was turning around back and forth, like over and over. Like he was turning around trying to figure out, do you want to get married or not? And that's all she ever wanted. But then she's like, oh well, I want this people here. I want this to be this way. And it's like, bro. So Joan Clayton for me, like I really don't like her. And low key, she did such a great job. I kind of always see her as Joan Clayton in everything, especially in this recent Black Mirror. Like, oh man,
Oh my goodness.
oh man,
We're gonna have to talk about Black Mirror off camera because that, yeah, I want to talk
mm-hmm.
about.
Yeah,
But Joan is also on my list.
okay. What you got to say?
Very similar reasons. I used to, again, I loved Joan, like, and I again still like a lot of aspects of her character. She was funny. She was so funny. She was professional. Um, Flawed. However, she was a bad friend. And you start to see again as an adult woman who's had life experience, you see like the ways in which Joan was a hater.
Boy,
Don't get me started. Like Tony, while she was also a very flawed character, and I almost put her on the list,
yeah, yeah,
but I don't think I liked her then, and I still don't like
yeah,
her.
exactly, exactly.
But the thing is, every happy moment in Tony's life, and Joan is supposed to be her best friend, you could just tell she was jealous. She wasn't happy for her. She did constant things to like kind of ruin and take away from all of Tony's happy moments because she's this perfect, and I've had friends like this. Thank God they're no longer my friends. But
Goodness gracious.
uh listen,
Hmm.
telling you, you view things with a new lens after you've lived a little.
Yeah,
But like when Tony was getting married, and it's almost like Joan thought she was better than Tony.
that part.
And so it's almost like a how dare you be getting married before me. So now I'm supposed to be supporting you through your happy day, your happy moments, but I'm going to make everything about me. Like she invited her boyfriend, the actor whose name I can't remember right now. What was his name? Hold on.
Oh, I'm about to say Stu, but
It wasn't. I can't remember, but
I remember. But he's British.
uh
I think he's British in real life.
yeah, he is.
Yeah.
So she invited him to come get his stuff from her house during during Tony's cake party. And even he's like, this is probably not a good time. Can I just come back? And she's like, no, you need to come get your stuff now.
That's
And Tony's like, during my
crazy.
party? And it's just like and then like when they were looking at dresses, she was, I don't like it. When it was her bachelor, like her bridal, like before the wedding, she was just like she just was a horrible friend, a jealous friend. She was very selfish.
Hmm.
And looking at it now, I see all the ways in which that like plays out in real life and real relationships. And I'm like, oh, I can't rock with you now. Because I'll say, as far as Sex in the City, all of those characters are very flawed, but they were all really good friends to each other.
They were. Well, Charlotte and
Samantha,
and Charlotte and Samantha, but then Charlotte and Carrie had a moment. You know what I mean, with the money situation, kind of like.
like
But
you see how they resolve that though.
yeah, but yeah, there's nowhere near like this biggest hater status that Joan had. You're right.
Like I feel like they were better friends to each other because even in the end, with the whole money situation, Charlotte ended up giving Carrie her ring,
Yeah.
which is a huge
Mm-hmm.
thing. But when it came to girlfriends, I feel like there were a lot of ways in which their friendships were a lot more complicated. And I don't think that they were always good friends to each other. And sometimes in ways that would not be forgivable. So that is why Joan made my list as well.
Mm. All right. Let me see. I'm gonna try to see if I can synchronize this sequence to see what Ash had in her list here. So let's see here. Um, it's hard because there's a few shows that I thought about having multiples. Actually, I do have one show that had multiples.
I have
Uh,
one show where I have two people from the same show.
yeah, that is just because sometimes they give you an ensemble. And okay, so here we go. This is from Ash. I don't know if I can time this perfectly, but here we go.
All right. So here are my characters that I hated and now loved, or feel different about, I like to say. First on the list for me is Tony Childs from Girlfriend.
Oh.
Again, this is hated and now loved. So she used to get on my nerves so bad. And even still now that I'm a grown up, she still has those moments. But I have a new level of understanding for her. She was just trying so hard not to be poor again from how she grew up. She didn't really know how to navigate her feelings. Now let's be clear. She still had wicked ways and attempted to sleep with Sean was nuts. But I was able to see deeper from her as the seasons went on and also as I began to get older. But when I was younger, I definitely hated her. She was my least favorite girlfriend of the show. But as I got older, my perspective on her started to change. Next up,
Wow, what are the odds? We had no idea. It's all aligning.
That's crazy.
That is crazy. What would you say to that?
You know, I can agree. I find a lot more nuance in her character now. Um, she wasn't my least favorite. I think that shoot, hold on. Lynn. Yeah, Lynn was my least favorite. But because she was just
You
super
know,
irresponsible, like to the point where like she just had no direction. And
yeah,
she
and
made
she was educated too. So it was like you're educating, you just ain't really doing anything.
she had no like drive and she was just annoying.
You know, sometimes characters like they have the setup, but they're not in. Because honestly, I'd be feeling like that way. Just going back to Sex and City for a moment before I get my next one. I be feeling that way about Charlotte sometimes. Like you do need that character that is like the hopeful romantic. You need that. But sometimes I'm like, but her stuff is it don't be that interesting. Like just because it's so I guess it's so different from the rest of them, but it's realistic though. Like friend groups are like that, but I just don't. I find myself not being that interested in Charlotte's storyline. But there are friends that always like they're trying to be married, they try to have kids, they try to get the stability and
Yeah, I think she balances the group out
yeah, she
in
does.
that way.
But for me, my next one is probably a little bit more of a deep cut. I,
Okay.
I went back and forth and back and forth about this, but I think I'm gonna go with my first choice. It was two characters, really. It's from the show The 100. I think it's a Netflix original, I believe.
I did not watch that.
It is a good show. I love post apocalyptic shows.
Me
That
too.
then you would really like this, and it's on some like like on some like if there's a moment in one of the seasons where like the earth is about to like kind of nuke and like they got to get underground and the things they got to do to survive and then figure out is it all right to come back out. They do it for years. It's a really good show. But anyway, so the character I chose was Bellamy Blake, and it was between Bellamy and Octavia, his sister.
Mhm.
Octavia I really didn't like because it's something about a whiny, defenseless. It's real, but I just like, all right, just watch out. But Bellamy, he was a character that like off the rip, he was like a douchebag in the initial. He was meant to be like kind of like the anti-hero, maybe even villain at first to I forgot what the main character's name is, which she is terrible. I can't she probably one of the characters I really despise, and I ain't gonna never change my mind about that. So but Bellamy Blake, he started off as like this hated character. He's like, yeah, we're gonna do whatever we want once they get dropped down to the earth to see if it's habitable. From they sent 100 kids down. That's where the theme of the 100 come from. And he's this hateable character, but as time goes on, he gets enlightened, he gets stronger, he gets wiser, he becomes a real leader, and he was such a like fan favorite. He definitely was my favorite, and his demise by far is why the main character is it's a what's her name? I can't remember. It's the blonde lead. Like I can't I she is up there with some of the like she's not on what's Game of Thrones? What's Joffrey level?
Ooh.
She's not on Joffrey level, but she's probably in my 10. Because I cannot stand her. Because when she plays a part in his demise, I won't spoil it if anybody intends to watch the 100. But she by far is the worst. So, but Bellamy Blake, he became such a dope character, a lovable character, and you respected his leadership, and he was a essential part in their survival. So,
I have a character somewhat like that on my list.
okay. Do you want to go next, or you want Ash?
You can play Ashes.
Okay, because I think that make all of us be at 2.
Show, but as I got older, my perspective on her started to change. Next up, I have Pacey from Dawson's Creek. Pacey was a class clown. He didn't take anything serious. He was just really like a go with the flow kind of dude. And I hated him for so long because I hated how he ended up dating Joey, because him and Dawson were like really, really good friends. And Dawson and Joey had ended up dating first. And then later on in the seasons, Pacey and Joey ended up dating. And I just kind of felt like he violated the friendship code. I don't care if it didn't work out with them. Dawson was deeply in love with Joey. And I just felt like Pacey shouldn't have crossed that line. But as I got older and, you lived through some things, you got different perspective. Dawson and Joey was not meant to be. They really weren't compatible. I think they thought they were because they grew up like across the street from each other. Joey would climb in his window. They were just really, really good friends. And then they tried to take it to the next level, but it just didn't work out. But come to find out, like Pacey and Joey had a lot of things in common. And this was as they got older, like through the seasons. And Pacey was really a solid dude. Like he started handling business as he got older. He was dating that teacher even as a youngin, and he was keeping it a secret and everything. Like he was smashing the whole teacher. But yeah, so Pacey, I originally hated him, and then I grew fond of him.
You familiar with Dawson's Creek?
I wasn't a huge like Dawson's Creek watcher, but I know who she's talking about. Like I know who the characters are.
Okay. Yeah. She wanted me to watch it years ago. I never got into it. And don't get me wrong, I was close. Like as far as shows in proximity, I watched One Tree Hill. I watched Gossip Girl. I watched shows that was like Dawson's Creek is definitely in that you may also like. I just never watched it. So I can't speak to that, but that is very interesting. Like,
Right.
hating a character, it being able to, I can't wait to get into like the real hated ones, like because it takes real excellence in the writing to be able to get there. You know what I mean? To win us over, especially in this era. We're a lot more intelligent viewers than it was back then. So I'm very interested to see where this goes. So what you got next?
So following in line with your last one, I'm going to go with this character from the show Grey's Anatomy, who I started off, I couldn't stand, and then, you know, later on, I came around to it. And that character is going to be Alex Karev from Grey's Anatomy. If you've watched Grey's Anatomy, you know the first couple seasons, he was such a dick. He was such an asshole. He was bad, like just selfish and mean for no reason. And but as the seasons go on, you know, there I think it's still going. I stopped watching it a while ago, but it's still going.
How many seasons you get up before you stop?
Ooh, oh my goodness, I don't know, maybe 16?
Whew, you're still a trooper. Because they definitely somewhere late 20s, 30s or something.
It For reference, I think I stopped around the time like they got to like COVID. So it might have even been more, but I don't know. It was a lot. I was like, I can't keep doing this. But um yeah, Alex, he started off as such a jerk, but as you see his storyline progress as he gets older and he becomes a more seasoned doctor, he ends up being like a pediatrician and working in the pediatrics unit of the hospital. And you start to see like the more emotional side of him, and you see his relationships and how they progress. And once you see like him as a full rounded character, you can appreciate him a lot more. And
Is
he
it
has
is
a heart.
which one
He's
is this? Is this
tough.
the black doctor?
No,
Okay.
he's white.
Maybe
But
drop him in the chat if you don't mind
okay.
while you're
But
explaining.
he's a tough character. He still is a tough character, like as it goes on, but he starts to kind of use his powers for good. And he's more of he's just a really like he's one of the characters I would say was the heart of the show while he was there. I don't really like how they wrote him off, but
Yeah, I tried to get started with Grey's Anatomy. Um, sorry, my mic. Can you hear me?
uh-huh.
I tried to get started with Grey's Anatomy a little bit ago, but it wasn't nothing wrong with it. I probably watched like 3 episodes and I just kind of tailed off, but it was good for what it was, but I just never got into it. Then when I seen it was so many seasons, for whatever reason, that kind of turned me off.
You
You
gotta
know,
commit.
because
Okay.
but it doesn't mean it can't be solid, for majority of it. So I just never got to it. But for me, I guess my next one, I just actually made a substitute just now. So I had 2 characters from a show, but while you were talking about Grey's Anatomy, another show popped up in my mind, and so I'm going to go there with it. Huh, this guy. Okay. I don't know if I remember this guy. Okay. So when you start talking about Grey's Anatomy, it made me think about another show. Not really the same, but it made me feel the same in similarity. So my next one's going to be Lewis Litt from Suits.
I didn't watch Suits either.
Ah man, Suits is so good. That's so good. Like attorneys on a fly shit. Like that show's so good, bro. Like they just created a new spinoff, but I ain't feeling it. Anyway, Lewis Litt was the definitely antagonist. He was straight by the book type character. You got your Mike Ross, you got your Harvey Specter. You know, they're like kind of like the good guys, the guys you root for, and then you got Lewis Litt straight by the book. They're all at the same firm, but Lewis Litt did have no kind of grace, no kind of nothing, and Mike Ross is a fraud that's practicing law, and that is a big issue when you continue to watch the show. And Lewis Litt, you hate it because it's like, bro, relax, like let it ride. But as the show goes on, man, he is carrying it in like because he's the comic relief, he's the emotional relief. Ash, when she hears that, she gonna know what time it is. Like, yeah, because Lewis Litt, bro. By the time you start off versus where you get to the end, I said, because there's even a moment where he become all the way villain. When he get the information, when it's revealed to him that Mike is a fraud, then it really gets to that point. So Lewis Litt, man, he carried the show for me, like especially towards the back end of Suits. Super funny, legit, and he's definitely one of the people like you, like, bro, you want him to be your friend because you really like him because he go hard for his people. So for me, Lewis Litt from Suits. All right, let's see what Ash got next.
Okay, Ash, what you got, girl?
Next, I have Sean from Degrassi. I think he came in a little too cocky for me. Like, it was almost like he was the big bully type of dude. I just felt like he was cold. Like, his character was kind of cold. Like, he already, I think he had this perceived reputation of being a bad guy. And so he just kind of, you know, honed in on that perception of him. And he just probably, obviously he'd been through a lot. But as the seasons went on with him, I think they added more depth to him. And he ended up being like a real protector. To be such a young kid, he was in a few situations where he had to kind of step up. And I just felt like I started to understand him better. And let's be clear, the glow up for Sean was real too. Like, hold on, woo, woo. Like, I started looking like, oh, Sean looking kind of good. Them curls is kind of coming out, but yeah. And then I have Pay.
Oh man, what you want to say, Mia? You doing your signature hair curl?
Oh my God, I thought he was so cute. I had the biggest crush on Sean. Oh, he was so cute. And yeah, I can agree. His character wasn't likable at first, but again, almost like an Alex Karev, you start to see the character develop and you get to know more about his backstory. You see him with the relationships, and he got a little older, a little cuter. Mm, mm-hmm. Yeah.
Come on back, come on back. You kind of went. She kind of went there for a moment. Come on back. Sean, definitely, man. I love Sean. I think he has one of the most interesting stories on Degrassi. The fact that he was held back a grade because he got suspended for beating a kid up, and he really gave Jimmy that work though. And people, that's why I thought it was so good because it's like Jimmy acting like he's like Sean's a true seventh grader. Like, no, he's really an eighth grader, bro. Like, he just got held back. Like, you forgetting, like, don't get it twisted, bro. And so Sean was a really good character. That he definitely had an error when he got with the wrong crowd that really make you hate him. And even how he started kind of doing Emma, even though Emma, who knows? She may be on somebody's list. But Sean, once you got his story, especially after like the school shooting episode, when he went back home to Wasaga, I believe, Wasaga Beach, and like that moment, he was like, I said, oh my God, because like he's this big tough guy, this hero, and Emma just feels indebted to him, and he's like, hey, I got to do what I had to do, but then like when he's seen his parents and how it just hit him in that moment, it's like, bro, I'm still a kid. Like, I just killed somebody, but it was self-defense, obviously, but it hit him, and that's when I say, I really rock with that character. So bro. If y'all ain't seen it, go back to Degrassi and go look at that scene when he goes back to his parents because he was dogging his mom. It's like, y'all left me behind. Like, and the mom didn't even give him any energy. She's like, okay. She closed that screen door, and then dad came out, and then bro, it all came back together. And then he hit that stutter. I was like, oh man. So yeah. The next one on you?
I don't know. Okay. But I got one.
All right. Well, give me 1 second, real quick. I'm
Okay.
gonna pause this. We're back. There she is. Happy belated birthday.
Thank you.
He has the same birthday as you. Birthday twin.
I know, right?
Happy birthday, twin.
Thank you. Oh man. All right. So, where was you going with it, Mia?
Let me see. Are you gonna behave?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, this one might also come as a surprise.
Oh.
So I have Moesha.
Oh, no. Okay, I gotta hear this. Yeah, you might be right. You might be right.
So again, a lot like Carrie and Joan, I really felt like she could do no wrong. Like when I was younger watching the show. As an adult, she was a brat. She was a brat and she was disrespectful.
Mm-mm-mm.
Like when her dad got her that car and she's like, I don't want this car. Girl, are you crazy? Like you turn your nose up at the car, you talk back. She treated Dee terribly
Oh
in
man.
the beginning. I'm like, you know what? Yeah, girl. Like I swear, when I watched it back, I almost couldn't even finish. I was like, she is insufferable.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely.
Mommy, this is spicy.
No.
She is absolutely like I that's why I can never go back to the show, like, because I was like, bro, I just don't like you. I don't. That's why I'm like, I don't know if I remembered it in real time that I didn't like her or what it was, or maybe I just disregarded because it was just that era where you just watch shows and people that look like you and relatively close to your age. Because I can't watch it now. Like I'd be like,
And it was
because
Brandy. And we loved Brandy.
yeah, I wasn't a big Brandy fan either, so that might have.
Yeah, I loved Brandy.
You know what I feel like who did a better version of this, or maybe a more likable version.
Too.
I feel like Brianna from 101 is like the more likable version of,
Okay, I could see that.
you know what I mean?
Because I loved her character and I still love her
And she
character.
still was flawed, you know what I mean? But it was a little bit more. I just always felt like Moesha was so nosy. I just felt she was just always in people's business and always just out of place or something.
She was mean to her friends. She was mean to her dad. She was just a brat.
Yeah, I'm like, bro, you're not even all that.
And she was so like she was just ugh.
Yeah, she's. I don't know. It was, oh man, she definitely gives me Harriet the Spy vibes. No, I'm just playing. I'm just. I'm just playing. Look, hey, look. Let's you jump through the screen.
Joey.
I'm just playing. I'm just playing. Don't
Nah.
don't mind me. No, that's a great one. That is a great one. All right. So for me, I'm gonna go. Actually, you know what? Ash had brought up Degrassi, so I'm gonna go ahead and bring it up as well. I'm gonna go Jay Hogarth. We've alluded to this, I don't know how many times. Jay Hogarth was one of the people that Sean got with that was obviously a bad influence on Sean. That Sean was teetering between good and evil, so to speak. And Jay and his crew, you know, damn, I forget what's the woman's name that was in the crew that Paige dated. Dang, I don't know. I can't remember her name, but she ended up becoming a real character. Then they had the black dude that never spoke a word with the do rag. But
Goodness, I don't remember any like I don't remember those characters.
it's
But
time for you
maybe
to do a
because
rewatch.
I'm like I haven't watched Degrassi in so long that there's a lot of people in details that I don't remember.
Oh, you got to do a rewatch.
It was out. Like,
You're gonna get like. Let me ask this real quick. When you go back to watch like nostalgic shows that like you haven't watched in a long time, what is the feeling you get like when you feel like, oh, like what's the I'm interested in this because I got something that I can explain as far as how I feel.
it makes me feel like it puts me back in that mood from when I was young. Like it makes me feel like I'm reliving a piece of my childhood.
Mm.
I'll say like a recent rewatch that I did, not super recent, it was probably like early last year. I rewatched all of Boy Meets World and I rewatched all of Smart Guy.
Oh.
And I was like, oh my gosh, like it just put me back in that space to the point where you almost forget like a lot of these characters like in the show, they're young, like they're kids, but I'm still looking at um them like they're older than me because they were older than
Right,
me when
right.
I was watching it originally. And so it's like hard to look at them in the light like now I'm older. It just puts you back, it takes you back to a place of like being a kid or a teenager, young adult. And it's like, wow.
That is a great point because you're so right when you say like it puts you back because in that moment they're still older than you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you should really do a rewatch on Degrassi, like because I mean they come out the gate swinging. You know the Emma episode is a part 1 and 2, where Emma is trying to do internet dating, meeting somebody. We know how that go. I know you remember the episode, and so
Oh, little loud.
um, but they do that whole concept, and Archie comes into the picture pretty early. And I've even gone back and watched like the '80s Degrassi too, like the Degrassi High, and they still touching upon issues a little different, but I'll go back to watching that as well. But yeah, go yeah if you whatever your
What is
rotation
it
is like,
on
it's on Max.
now? Okay, yeah. I'm gonna have to I might start that tonight or tomorrow.
It's gonna feel so because it you were in school with them. Like I don't know too many shows like
Yeah.
we watched Raven, like you said, Boy Meets World. I've watched um dang, I always forget the name of the show. What would you do? Anyway, but there's a lot of shows that base in school, but Degrassi, you are in school. You're doing a project with Toby and JT. You're with Paige and all that, man. Like Jimmy and Spinner at the basketball court. You're in it. So you please watch it. Like just a
I
few
remember
episodes.
I would watch Degrassi and instantly call my cousin, like, girl, did you watch Degrassi?
Oh,
Like it
that's
was
dope.
our soap opera when we were kids.
It absolutely. There's a show that's a teenage soap opera. I don't know if you've ever heard of it. I started it. I be on and off with it. A show called 15.
Mm-mm.
It literally is a child soap opera, like where it has the camera angles, the music, and the drama. Just check it out. Like just whatever your Fire Stick or Roku, whatever you have, or smart TV, just type in 15
Okay.
and just watch an episode. It's so cheesy,
Oh my goodness.
but it's good in a sense that it's teenagers doing a soap opera. Like, but anyway, that's probably off camera conversation. All right, let's see what Ash got.
Age. This is kind of coming out, but yeah. And then I have Paige. Hated Paige. Hated Paige from Degrassi. I'm sorry. She used to be so snobby, and of course, she was like one of the popular girls, kind of like one of the mean girls. And I just felt like she had bad intentions. But again, changing my lens and my perspective, and even just going through the seasons, we see that she did have many struggles. She was obviously raped by that one dude. I can't remember his name. She was raped by him. Then she was going through that discovery of her sexuality. And then I just started seeing her like mature throughout the seasons. And it's like, okay, Paige isn't so bad. And once I realized she actually had a heart and she actually did care, then that's when I started liking her more. So I think for me, the trend is like, if I feel like you're just a cold character and you just kind of like come off one type of way, but there's no progression, then it's probably going to stay on the hate side. But as long as I start to see some development on the emotional side and just, caring for others, and I'm not too bad to flip. So that's it for the ones that I hated and loved.
Yeah, Paige Michael Chuck. They definitely paint the picture on like how bad she was at first. They come in early. She is the mean girl. She's the blonde. But the realization for me is Paige really wasn't that girl for real. Like especially when Manny got in her bag. Listen, Manny cooked her up a few times. Like Manny
Listen,
cooked her up on cheerleading. Manny cooked her up on spinner. Manny stayed cooking her up. Like she really wasn't that girl for real, when you really watch it. But
Manny was that girl.
yeah, she was that girl. But she had that reputation that made it hard to kind of That's
Yeah,
why you gotta watch. You really gotta watch it because it's gonna take you all the way back into that. But
I
uh,
remember moments, but I like
yeah, the smaller episode. But do you remember like the sexual abuse episode? With
wait, Paige?
yeah,
Vaguely.
yeah, that episode it was
Didn't she had an HIV scare
she
at
did
one.
when she that was in the college era, like when they did like the little weak ass college era they did like with it didn't really work, kind of like Saved by the Bell. Bless you, but it was like when she was in high school, Dean, that's his name, Dean, and he was on the soccer team for the other school, and he was a little older, and I forgot what he called her, but like she was like dressing up older, trying to be with the dude, and and she's like, I said no, that whole like going to a party in high school and all that, but it was deep though, and then it came back up years later, like, and then Spinner was with her. It got real complicated because he wanted her to stand up, like, because he was like, well, anyway, I ain't gonna rehash the whole situation, but y'all go back and watch like Degrassi, like them first like at least 5 seasons, 6 seasons. Yeah, it goes there. In the words of Degrassi.
Okay. So I feel like Ash had hers in order from the ones that she didn't like at first, and I had mine in the ones that I liked at first and then didn't like later. But I threw some of the other ones in there because I was following Ash's. So I only have a few more. But oh, you're not gonna. I don't think you're gonna like this one.
Oh. Wait, okay. How many have you
Wait,
read
no,
off?
is it your turn?
I think it might be mine because my last one was
Yes,
Lewis.
yours. Yes,
Okay,
yours.
so I ain't been going to know. I've been jumping around. I've been trying to kind of flow
Me
with it.
too. I'm
So
like, I've been jumping
yeah,
around.
you know what I mean. So since we're still in the school realm, I'm gonna go from Gossip Girl, Chuck Bass. Now Chuck Bass is supposed to be like the Rick. They're all kind of rich in some regard, but he's like supposed to be like kind of the rich, cold douchebag, and you're supposed to not like him, you know, but they write him so nuanced. I really start to like Chuck Bass, and there's a character in One Tree Hill that was like that. It's it was two basketball players. The one with the black hair, the blonde hair, Chad Michael Murray or whatever. But it's the other guy. They made us like him later because we started to understand why he was like that. But Chuck Bass was similar. Like you start to understand him a little bit more, and like how the classic rich kid story. Your parents are not around like that, and you just all you want is their approval, and they're never around. They throw money on it. And once you start to understand Chuck Bass a little bit more, you really like him. And I really like Chuck Bass. Some people might still not like him, but his character arc was a really great turn. So for me, Chuck Bass from Gossip Girl.
Okay. Didn't watch Gossip Girl either.
You might, yeah. You got. Are you a
My little
teenage
sister
drama fan?
Gossip Girl, but I didn't watch it really. I didn't watch a lot of those types of shows. Like I didn't watch like Pretty Little Liar or
Mm-hmm.
anything like that. I don't know. I just didn't really get into it.
I'm a teenage drama person. I kind of like a little bit of because I was in my head as a teenager, so I like these shows that explore the politics of being a teenager in high school,
Mhm.
middle school ish. I just like to see. I just like to see it. So it's a thing for me. But I do understand. Like some people, like,
Okay. So next for me, I have Sean Hunter from Boy Meets World.
Oh, his best friend.
Yes.
Okay.
And the thing that I changed my mind about it isn't that I don't like his character anymore. It's more so like being older and as like a kid growing up watching the show, everybody had a crush on Sean. Sean was just so cute and he was supposed to be like the popular
The
boy.
bad boy.
Yeah,
Like,
the popular bad boy from the wrong side of the tracks who, he's not doing that great in school, but all the girls love him because he's cute. He has little pouty lips. But then, like rewatching it, I was like, Corey was actually cuter because I don't know what it is. I think it's a personality thing. I feel
yeah.
like the Sean character, while once he got older, he became more of a complex character, and you saw a little bit more nuance to him once they get into college, even like their older high school years. And then, of course, like when they're in college, he has like a brother, which helps round out his character. But I think because we saw Corey um, and Topanga from the time they were really young, I just ended up feeling like, as far as like a romantic lead, I would have probably liked the Corey character better if I was viewing things from the same lens when I
Mm.
was younger watching it.
Mm.
Because it
Okay.
was always kind of like, oh, Corey's cute, but and Topanga likes Corey, but as a girl, we're not really looking at Corey like that. Sean is the one that like everybody has.
He got the edge.
Yeah, but then it's like, oh, no, I like Corey. Corey was a sweet little love puppy, and
Yeah.
it was adorable.
Hindsight 2022, right? All right, let's see what Ash got next.
And now these are the characters that I loved and now hate. And again, I use hate very lightly because I don't like that word, but kind of dislike or whatever. Moesha is number one here. Again, I don't like the word hate for some of these, but I love Moesha growing up. She was smart. She had her own swag. She was popular. But, and she had like a cool friend group. They used to go to the den, chill and kick it. What kid didn't want to be her, right? What girl, black girl. Um, but with my grown up lens, I realized sometimes she was selfish and she didn't give a lot of grace with some of her friends or even others when they did something she didn't feel was right. I don't know if that was kind of like a 90s thing, kind of maybe like a little bit of a trope where it's like, it's a teenage kid, so they're kind of self centered. I mean, that's kind of how they're depicted typically. But I mean, I think she was a good friend. But there was just moments as I started watching it when I was older, like, okay, in this moment, I didn't think she made the right decision, or like her friend tell her don't say a secret, and then she reveals it anyway. It's just kind of like, bro, you're just doing what you feel is right in that moment, and sometimes that's not the approach to take, regardless if it's right or wrong. Like sometimes that's not your place. So I think with Moesha, a lot of the times I started noticing like she was kind of stepping into things that wasn't her place. And so that kind of made my view of her change. Don't get it twisted. I still watch the show. I still love the show. But, I do see flaws within this character.
So yeah, we don't have to really belabor because Mia also had that on her list. But for all the things that Mia said, we said about Moesha is like, it's funny that that's on her list because I didn't even think about it. But you know what? I never liked her, so that's why she never made my list. She wouldn't even made it because I didn't like it from the gate. But is it on me or you? I can't.
It's on you.
It's on me. All right. Because I think I got two characters that I'm gonna go a character that I liked at first, but changed my mind on. So recently, like maybe 2 years ago, I had started the show 90210. And the reason I asked me about how does it feel when you watch something nostalgic, that what does it feel like? For me, when I watched 90210, immediately the pilot episode, I listened to the podcast. They kind of dog it because they switched directors and writers and some of the leads. I mean, some of the other characters like the father or whatever, even the house. But I think the pilot is a great pilot because it's this big house party situation, and it's this family that moves from the Midwest to California. So they got different kind of like morality, and they stand on something different than people that in California. They got certain superficial, rich, but the dad got a good job, so they moved out in Cali. Anyway, so the pilot is really good, and it gave me like that. I was just cheesing the whole time because it's so nice. I mean, literally, the show came out in the year I was born in 1990. So, but the character that I loved at first, but eventually I strongly disliked, is Brandon Walsh, the main character, Jason Priestley, the heartthrob that people love. Oh, look at his eyes, look at his hair. Like the women loved Jason Priestley. So I'm still to this day. He did an excellent job. Like I like him as a person. His character I loved at first because he was this guy that stood on something different than everybody else, especially when you're introduced to Dylan. You know, Dylan in the early seasons, he's supposed to be the bad boy, the James Dean or whatever, and even what's his other friend? I don't know why I can't remember right now. How do I say? Well, not David. David was cool, but Steve. That's what it is. Steve is kind of the party boy. He kind of is ignorant, whatever. Brandon Walsh, he starts off and you're like, cool. And in the first season, they're doing like the Saturday night special style. Every episode is a theme, pregnancy scare, or that's the 90s. But
Yeah.
it gets further and they get to college. Now they got grown content. And there's still some moments I like him, but he just kind of becomes this character like they try to write him like he grows to not feel like I'm better than you or I'm too good or I'm the moral compass, but he continuously drives being the moral compass. And after a while, you're like, bro, knock it off. Because there's some moments it's like, bro, bro, you sleeping with a teacher, you know what I mean, or sleeping with a teacher's wife in college. Like, bro, who are you? Where do you get the balls? You know, there is definitely moments with Brandon Walsh. I almost put Brenda Walsh, his sister, his twin, but it would have been a whole complete flip. But I think Brandon Walsh is the better one for me. I didn't hate him after. I just like started to get to the point. I'm like, okay, you got to stop this goody two shoes act, bro. You got enough experience now to understand how it go. So Brandon Walsh, 90210 for me.
Okay. Okay. Let's see.
Should
I
be
haven't done a lot
three
of the
more
ones
left.
that I didn't like. It was harder for me to find ones that I didn't like and that I now like. Because if I didn't like them,
Mm-hmm.
I probably still don't. Except for, okay. So I have Monica from Girlfriends.
Oh, what was
You
that?
remember Monica?
Williams' fiance?
William's wife.
Wife, okay.
Okay. So when watching it back in the day, she did not like, she was such, she was kind of, I'm trying to find a word without having to say the B word. But I felt like she was controlling of William. She didn't gel with the girls, she was kind of coming in between their friendship. But now, in hindsight, and later in the show, and even like in hindsight, watching it back, she was kind of the realest one
Mm-hmm.
in the show. She was always telling them what it was and where they had her messed up at. I really feel like she was just such a strong character,
Mm-hmm.
and we
Yeah.
were following characters that were very flawed in their own right, and of course, making a lot of poor decisions. And I'm almost like, yeah, I probably wouldn't have wanted my man hanging with these heifers either, because they weren't, and she knew what she wanted. She was very firm. And I feel like back in those days, that kind of character, as far as a woman, especially a Black woman, was frowned upon. But now looking at it,
Mm-hmm.
2025, or, as a grown Black woman myself, I'm like, yeah, girl, I feel you.
Foundation.
Like, yes, sis.
I mean, hey, look, we married. Like, I'm looking out for mine. You feel me?
Yeah. So,
Yeah, I think I had that same kind of viewpoint too. Like when I watched it recently too. Just I was like, yeah, I'm not as mad at her at this point. Like I really
yeah,
actually like her. She felt like real, you know.
exactly.
So I'm with you.
She wasn't with the nonsense,
Not
like
at
the
all. Because I
like
mean, there was a lot when you look at her in comparison to like a Joan Clayton. You're like, okay, you're doing a lot of extra to get nowhere, and she was like, I'm not here for none of that.
exactly.
No
She
games, bro.
was.
So, all right, let's see what Ash got next.
Next, I have Med School, Melanie Barnett from the game. Love Mel because, I mean, first of all, sister Tia Mari, she did her big one on this one. This was like her first time kind of stepping out of the little girl role, like into grown woman. So I just love that elevation. This was a really good role for her to be able to kind of carve something out for herself and not just be so attached to her twin sister. And shout out to Tamara too, because I like her as well. But as I started watching the season with my grown up perspective, again, grown up lens, she didn't take a lot of accountability for her actions and some of the things that happened. Like she kind of started playing the victim a lot to me. Like as I started watching it, I'm like, it was like she was always the victim. Like something was always happening to her. But in reality, a lot of her mishaps were kind of self-inflicted. Other than the cheating, again, we're not gonna go there. Third one, I'm still mad at you, for cheating with Drew. But again, leading up to that, he wanted you to come to his games. He wanted you to be more involved in what he had going on. And granted, she was in medical school, so she had her own things going on too, and she didn't want her life to be just absorbed with Derwin and what he had going on. So I understand trying to carve your own independence. But again, he proposed to you, he got you a car, you said no to the proposal, and it's kind of like you just really put him in a space of, does she really want to be with me or not? You know what I mean? So again, I'm not saying that the cheat is what made her have these mishaps, but I'm just saying even with the sunbeams and just just different interactions with different characters that she had within the show, it's just like, okay, you're always saying woe is me, and it's like, okay, we gotta have some accountability here. So yeah, Melanie Barnett made the list, man.
That's a great point. I didn't even think about Melody.
I
That is a
feel
great. That's a good one. That
I feel it 1000%.
that is really good. That
I
is
literally want to just put her on my list right now, and I don't know
I
how.
mean, on the low, like, cause it's like, damn, that's a really good, like, cause there was some moments, and I don't know if it was when they went to the BET switch, or it might have been maybe before the BET switch or whatever, but yeah, that was yeah, I agree with that. Like, it was some moments where it's, you know, and you could kind of see the depth of it now that we're older, where you could see where it's like Derwin may have just wanted not disregarding cheating, that's disrespectful, but like he wanted to like be more adventurous and do things and not just be so stable all the time and stuff. And she was definitely like, yo, she probably had her. We seen who her mom was. Her mom didn't even like him. That's a good. I thought that was a good point. I like that. That was a good pull.
I completely feel on like the self-inflicted, because even like when Derwin was having that baby with what was her name?
Ah, dang, the chocolate.
Janae.
I can't remember what her name. I don't know. I definitely don't know her name.
It was something like that. But it's like, girl, why are you even involving yourself? You're not comfortable with this situation.
Yeah.
And uh, she was just a mess, a hot mess.
Yeah. Is it- I
It's
think
your
it,
turn.
okay, all right. I got to get this together. All right, so I'm going Breaking Bad, Mike Ehrmantraut. So, you ever watch the show?
I didn't watch the whole thing.
Okay, fair. Really good show. Mike Ehrmantraut is kind of like the cleaner. He cleans up the crime scene. He does this. Him and Walter White, which is the cook Heisenberg, he's the meth. He created a 99.1% purity meth. You know, the best, the blue sky meth on the streets. Him and Walter used to have these interactions all the time, but like obviously we follow Walter, so we root for him. Mike Ehrmantraut, he was like really an asshole. Like he was flat out like, and you did not, and I did not like him. I said, and so when I don't want to spoil it. When we
Well,
get
it's fine. It's been out forever. I
it
don't
came
like
out in '08. I
the
mean,
shows that have been out forever. I feel like spoilers are
well,
fair.
here's what I'll say this way. Like, I don't like to give like direct who did what, but when he met his demise, I was very happy with the fact that he's out of here. However, Breaking Bad ended up creating a prequel, Better Call Saul. And when they created the prequel, Better Call Saul, we got to see a backstory with Mike Ehrmantraut, Saul Goodman, or Slipping Jimmy, and uh, my man from the chicken spot. I don't know why it's not. It'll come back to me. So we got to see in Lalo Salamanca. So we got to see these backstory, Nacho, a lot of people. And when we got the backstory of Mike, it all came together, and I realized, I said, "Oh, I like him." He was actually on the side of good, like he was in law enforcement, and something happened to his son. His son was faced brutality, and it made me appreciate how he ended up getting from being on that side to like obviously end up working with the the cartel. And then it makes me want to watch Breaking Bad again with that context. And so, bruh, I could not stand them. And when I watched Better Call Saul, it made me like when I said, "Oh man," I said these guys are brilliant. Because this, like, I know you're watching Raising Kanan now, and that's why I think that if you did ever finish Breaking Bad and then watch, or even watch Better Call Saul and go into Breaking Bad, I think you would appreciate like that storytelling. So Mike Ehrmantraut for me.
Okay.
Hated it first. Now I definitely really like this character.
Okay. So I only have two more. I'm trying to think which one I should go first.
Okay.
Should I go drama or sitcom? I'm gonna go drama. No, I'm gonna go sitcom because the other one is a little bit more complicated. So this one is simply somebody that I liked, and then now I'm like, mm-mm. And it's actually also from Moesha, and it's gonna be Frank Mitchell, Moesha's dad.
Oh, I gotta know. I can't wait.
All right, so okay, hear me out. And I know that you, because we've talked about this before, and I remember you talking about raving about how good of a father he was, and blah blah blah. And on the rewatch, I'm not so sure about that. Frank was kind of a misogynist.
Okay. Yeah.
And it might be a 90s thing, but like watching it, I was like, I can't stand you or your daughter. Quite honestly. Like like his views on like his daughter, his wife, and he was just kind of like one of those, he was just a misogynistic man. And I just was like, ugh, I don't like it. Like, I'm trying to remember
Closed
like
minded.
specific, yeah.
Yeah, he was really
Like,
stern and
Exactly. It was
He was
like,
definitely. I mean, I always look at his afro. I'm like, even your afro is like
and then to find
stiff.
like they did ruin his character with the whole finding out he had like the outside baby situation, which I think
Yeah.
even without that, he was already terrible, but they just made it a
Oh,
lot
you
worse.
went to. He went to. You. He made it to terrible to you.
I didn't like him. Like
Okay.
upon the rewatch, I was like, oh, yeah, I don't like this character.
I'm gonna do. I am gonna watch a few episodes just to kind of zone in on him a little bit more because I think you're right on par. I know if I watch it, I'm sure I'll see the same things.
Like he was
So
just unreasonable in a lot of situations,
yep.
and I'm like,
Now I remember that. I remember that unreasonableness. Yeah. And what's his name again? And what show for the listeners?
Frank Mitchell from Moesha.
All right. Let's see what Ash got next as we're getting closer to the end of this TGIF.
Next, I have Molly from Insecure. So this was an indifferent one for me. I love Molly because she had a good job. She dressed fly. She was really responsible. She gave Issa the harsh truth. You know, even when she didn't want to hear it. I like Molly because she was keeping it a buck. However, as the seasons went on, it was like she was giving Issa so much shit and wasn't really acknowledging her own struggles. Cause you know she had insecurities of her own, like within her love life. Her love life was shitball. She had struggle with vulnerability, you know. So she had her struggles. Also, it's just Issa was just more out front with it, and it just started feeling like as Issa started finding her footing and getting some traction for herself, and not having too much time to hang out, things just started getting weird. And I know that's how they wrote it, but it was a tough time when they kind of wrote it where Molly and Issa was into it. But it just seemed like she was cool when Issa was barely making it love wise, financially, you know, just whatever she had going on. Like you was cool with her being kind of at the bottom of the barrel, but once she started kind of popping her shit and elevating, you kind of came off as a hater a little bit. It's like you already a lawyer or whatever. You got your stuff going on. Like you should want your girl to get what she needs too. So maybe the phone stopped ringing as much because I'm not in that space that I once was. You know what I mean? I once was. But yeah, so Molly had to make that list.
Mm,
What say you, man?
I agree. But I will say this. I always felt that way though. It didn't change for me upon the rewatch. I felt
That's where I'm at with it. Yeah.
like I liked Molly, of course. Like I liked her at first, and I liked her in the end once everything came together and they reconciled. But that patch there in the middle, where I felt a lot like with Joan, Molly
Mm.
wasn't a good friend because like you're not perfect. And again, it was another case where I felt like she was keeping Issa around because she felt like she was better than her. She needed somebody to look down on in a way because when Issa started trying to make moves, she was doing everything in her power just like to keep her down. Like when Issa wanted to asked her to ask her boyfriend if he could help her get in touch with Vince Staples
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you got it.
for her be quiet, Siri. I'm not talking to you. Um for her block party and she was like no. And I'm like, what kind of best friend are you? Because
That's crazy.
when she went around you and talked to your boyfriend herself and he was happy to help, you got mad. It ruined the block party, starting a fight with her at her event that turned out to be successful. And I was like, oh yeah, she tripping. Like and like the whole like everything she said about Issa in that time, it was just really like, oh, you just mad that she's doing better for herself, that she's finally finding some happiness, and you're still kind of miserable, even though you have all this financial success and you have all of the material success, you're unhappy. And Issa's always just kind of been happy and following like passions and purpose, and you've just been miserable with money.
Yeah, I feel like one of these days, one of those days, is definitely a offspring of insecurity. That concept you just said is literally the two friends. Yeah, I think so, Molly. I think the show just did a good job of showing flaws all the way, so it never pushed me to feel one way or the other. I mean, sidebar, were you team Lawrence or I don't remember the other dude or light skinned shawty? Like the
Nathan.
Nathan. Was you Nathan in goal or Lawrence?
I'm gonna put it this way. I was not Nathan in game, but I was also not team Lawrence. Like, I'm happy that she ended up with Lawrence because I felt like that was the end game. They were supposed to be together. However, I, Lawrence, you know,
He's getting busy out there.
until he like, I feel like he needed that push. Like him and Issa breaking up, even though she was dead wrong in the way that it happened. He needed to get out there on his own to make something happen for himself before they could be back together. I feel like they needed that time apart.
They did, yeah.
Back together. But Lawrence was all.
And look at it. Hey, shout out to We Got Y'all podcast, man. The big cousins.
Yeah, Kyron is big. Lawrence Hive, but absolutely.
Hey, most of us were.
No, sir. Please.
Hey, we just needed
we needed a whole new love interest that wasn't neither one of them, quite honestly.
I feel that.
But because Nathan,
well, she did. She had your boy. What's the dark skinned dude?
Did we ever even? Which one?
The dark skinned dude where they were having a moment and he didn't know that she didn't get down like that. And she was like, I can't believe you just did that.
Oh, Daniel, no.
That should maybe been in game. Maybe.
No, Daniel was not in game either. There were no.
I felt like he could have been. Like he really wasn't.
He was cool, like as her homeboy in a little fling that she had. You know, a little blast from the past, but not relationship. No.
Fair enough.
It was a fun time, but no.
I think it's
glad she ended up with Lawrence, but
yeah. But the way they did that end, kind of time jump and everything, I didn't like that. But you know,
they ended it way too quick. It should have had.
It's hard to end things. Like even I literally just last night I was up to like 2 a.m. I just mixed the last episode, the finale, the series finale of Roll, and I was like, man, it is really hard to end these type of things because you know where you're starting in the season and you want to cover all of the beats that make the show. You want to cover the funny, you want to cover the drama, you want to cover the sex, you want to cover the action, you want to cover the dialogue, and then you got to land it too. Yeah. And it was really challenging writing this last season, but anyway, all right, next one I'm gonna go is if y'all haven't already, go check out the other podcast that I'm a part of, Good Earners, reviewing The Sopranos, a character from Sopranos, Paulie Walnuts, aka Paulie Gualtieri. Paulie, when I first watched The Sopranos, I hated him. He was like just this kind of loudmouth character that felt unnecessary to the show. Like I was like, bro, I hope Tony get him out of here. And they do have a moment where it was close to a moment where he was about to get whacked. But when I watched it the second time around, I started to find myself laughing at him and enjoying him and actually appreciating him in the grand scheme of The Sopranos. He's a comic relief but not in the traditional sense because Sopranos not a traditional show. And so now I couldn't even picture the show without Paulie Walnuts. And I did have originally Richie Aprile as well, but I swapped him out for Louis Litt. So I guess Richie Aprile will be like a honorable mention. But like, yeah, Paulie Walnuts, man, I hated him at first, but the second and third time around, I was like, bro, I really like him because he is who he is. He's one of the most self-aware characters, even though he lies because majority of everybody in the show lies, but he's one of the most self-aware characters, and that actually keeps him alive. So Paulie Walnuts, aka Paulie Gaultieri, The Sopranos.
Okay. Again, a show that I watched a lot growing up, but haven't watched in so long that I wouldn't remember anything super specific.
Ooh,
I
I want to see what you
started
think
to
about the women
rewatch it,
characters.
but I got sidetracked because there were so many other things I was watching. But I do want to go back and rewatch that because that was Mama C's thing. That was
Hey,
her thing. That
hey,
and
that might be a bonding thing. Y'all might can watch one episode every Sunday. You know what I mean? Like when it came out, and if y'all
I told her about Good Earners, and she said she was gonna check it out too.
yeah, we wildin'. Yeah, because I would love. I just want to hear you go off on us about something like I can't believe y'all said. So
we gotta have another one. I feel like
what?
we gotta find something else to review, like to do a pod on that's show specific. Like I love the idea of Good Earners because it was just about the Sopranos.
Yes.
I would love to do something with 3 or 4, but I would like to have 2 male perspectives too.
So you're so laid out. Was that what? So what are you saying exactly? I was following, and then I
If
kind of
you had like another guy friend who would like who you also have like a show that you really like, because I would love to like I know how much like you were super set on having 2 women's perspectives for Childish Grownups, and I love our dynamic, me, you, and Ash. But I think it would be cool to have 2 male perspectives too. Like
yeah.
because sometimes I feel like me and Ash be
Yeah.
And then you have a unique perspective. I feel like
somebody that's a little bit more regulated, like casual.
and not even saying that because as unique as you are, I'm sure that there are plenty of other guys who share your perspective as well. But just like I feel like
That's why Another Week of the Books works so well because I was like the way over here guy that like yeah. I could see that, and I would say, like I said, whatever we build momentum wise after this into more things we do on top of this one, I would totally be done. I know we kind of teeter with the idea of the Seinfeld. I know you said you had a buddy, so that kind of can line up in that sense. So I don't know, but I'm definitely interested. The thing about doing one,
goodness gracious,
that's what I'm saying. But doing one show, it's amazing because you're in that world and you don't leave it until it's over.
Exactly.
Like, I'm just now. I'm just
concept.
now when we just finished Sopranos, and like now it's like I still follow Soprano YouTubes and breakdowns, but I don't watch nothing because I have spent 2.5 years in this world of staying it, understanding these characters, living it, being in it, and now I just kind of like take a breather. So whatever it is, whenever we get to that point where we create something like that, absolutely, you be so in it, and it's also an easy way to get your numbers up because when you do stuff like what we do movie wise, people gotta like the movie. If they don't like the movie,
they skip it for the episode.
Skip it until they get invested in who we are, and they're like, I don't care what movie it is. Similar to our Big Cousins Culture Garden. So, what you got? You got one more? You said
I got one more. Did we do Ashes last one?
I think she did Molly, and then I got 2 left.
I only have one.
Okay, so if you want, I could do Ash. I can go again, and then we should all have 1 left.
Okay, that's cool.
All right.
Next, I have Olivia Pope from Scandal. Shout out to Kerry Washington. That's my girl, for real. Um, I'm all for the black women in charge. She was working in the White House, and she had her own business, had her own thing going on. She was a respectable boss lady. But as time went on, she was low key evil. I mean, hence the show called Scandal, right? She was covering up a lot of people's wrongdoing. And I didn't like how she played my boy Jake. And she had feelings for him. If you didn't watch Scandal, you know what I mean, it's one of those, if you know, you know. But obviously she was like head over heels for the president. But then my young boy Jake, he came in on the scene and she was feeling him too. And so she was kind of like intimate with him. And he was like doing some things, right? I saw people doing things, but she was feeling my boy Jake. They was feeling each other. And she came to find out that Jake was involved with B16, which was like the company that her father was over. So these were really bad people too, right? So Jake wasn't really a good guy, but then he was like willing to give it up for her. He's like, I'll go, because when you were in B16, there was no getting out, right? But Jake was feeling Olivia so much that he was willing to go to her father and say, look, I'm out. I'm not going to be in B16 anymore. I love your daughter. I want to be with her. Like, he was willing to walk away from it all to be with her. And she just couldn't, she couldn't get there with my boy Jake. And it just made me mad. At that point, she started playing with him because she would only call him over when she really wanted to smash. Like, she kind of just wanted to keep it on some friends with benefits, but he was like, bro, it's deeper than that, Jake, you know? So she kind of made me mad, and she just kind of started having a lot more evilish ways as the seasons went on. I'm like, okay, I still respect her because she's a black woman in charge, handling business, but again, you're handling scandals. And so it's like some of this scandal stuff is outrageous, atrocious, and you covering it up. But I get it, that was your job. They paid you to do it. But yeah, so that's how she made the list. And a lot.
So you obviously watch Scandal, I'm assuming, because your facial expression says that you're in alignment with the show. What do you think about that?
Now I am due for a rewatch of Scandal, but no, yeah, she did some things. However, it was always Fitz. It was always gonna be Fitz. Jake was cool. I mean, it was cool for what it was, but it wasn't all of that.
It wasn't all of
So
that.
I just oh, I don't know. That's tough. I'm an Olivia stan.
Mm.
I'm a definite Olivia and Fitz in game.
Is she an anti-hero or a villain?
I think she's a
Oh.
ooh. It depends on
If she's doing, if there's
on her.
some really good being done, like at moments, a lot of moments.
Yeah, I don't know. That's a good question, and I will have to get back to you on that after a good old rewatch. I got the glasses, the Olivia Pope glasses, the wine glasses. I have to throw some red in there and sit down and watch Scandal and really like deep dive into who Olivia was at her core. But
I can see you reviewing a show like that.
and she definitely the fashions too. She had the fashions.
Mm. See, I remember I started the show and I didn't really finish it. I probably watched 2 episodes, but I was more of a How to Get Away with Murder fan.
I love that too. I watched it too.
And Angelise, and this is what bothers me, and real quick, because I know I don't want to be overly long on the episode, but this what bothers me with like some of our A-list actors that won't do television. You got Angelise Keaton, and you see Annalise. I'm sorry, been a minute. I said Angelise. Where did I get that from? But Annalise Keaton or whatever. How great that. What's her real name? I can't remember.
Viola Davis.
Viola Davis. forgive me. When I see this, I'm like, why don't more A-list actors have? Because she has a classic show under her belt. Like this show is ridiculously fire, you know. And then we look at Kerry Washington with something like that. It's like it's some of these A-list actors that are still waiting for the next film. I'm like, yo, Tom Cruise, where you at? Get you a series, bro, on Stars or HBO or Showtime. Like where Brad Pitt, get you a show. Like where y'all at? Y'all still think it's big box office? It bothers me. I ain't going to even get started because I'll go on a whole nother rant. It's these stars that like still think that there's a difference between the silver screen or the big screen and the small screen or whatever. And I'm like, y'all are missing it because How to Get Away with Murder will still be classified as one of the best shows ever. So it's just one of them things that I don't know why more don't do it. You know, Queen Latifah did The Equalizer just recently. You know what I mean? So it's like, bro, why don't these A-list actors like get you a dope show under your belt? Like I'm really, be honest, I'm ready for Will Smith to
do another TV show, like a drama.
Yeah, like a drama, yeah. Like I
think
want him to get.
Yeah,
I got a theory. I think he's gonna be on the last season of Bel-Air.
that would be dope.
He's gonna be. I think so because every season, you know how they bring a character from. I think he's gonna be on the last season.
That would be so cool.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right.
Well, you said I'll go. I'll be brief on this one because I got two more, so this will make it one. Okay, Cersei Lannister from Game of Thrones.
Oh my goodness, my last one is also from Game of Thrones, but it's a different character.
Okay, that's perfect. Cersei Lannister from Game of Thrones. Now, this is a character that I hated. I didn't turn around and like, but I did respect. Like I didn't like her so much. I didn't respect her, but there is a scene in Game of Thrones, and I'm gonna be brief. Her power, she once both was it both her sons got killed?
Her youngest son, he got rid of himself.
Yeah, damn. See, that's why I got to go back and watch. But the first one, I mean, we were so happy to see Joffrey choke up. Like, yeah, get him up out of here. Turn purple, turn green. I don't care. Get this little dude up out of here. He is the top. Now, you know what? I hope that actor is doing all right, man. Because
I know.
So you know what I mean? Because
that's a tough one.
It is. It really is. Because I hated him, and Ramsey is like right up under him. Ramsey is up there.
They're neck and neck.
Yeah,
they're neck and neck.
Yeah, Ramsey.
They were both like psychopaths.
Oh, to the highest degree. Ramsey was so, and he smiled about it. That's what used to get me. I'm like, he's smiling and everything. Like he's unbothered about.
That's the thing. That was the difference. Like Joffrey, he would get angry and he would do things to hurt people, but he had motives behind all of his evil deeds because he was power hungry. Ramsey was just he just loved.
I love this.
Like he just loved to see people in pain.
Yeah,
like, he was.
Y'all, for y'all Breaking Bad fans, he is definitely the Game of Thrones Lalo Salamanca. Y'all get that reference. So
I would do a show reviewing Game of Thrones. That would be my team. Oof.
I don't think I got too many Good Earner fans that come over here and listen. So I'll say that was in the running for what we're doing next. We are about to do our next show. So it's going to give you the opportunity. Ash already knows. I'll tell you off air.
Okay.
But if you like, hey, you know what? I do want to rewatch it. Now I got something to kind of have a companion with. Because I know you've been following Raising Cane and they've been reading your comments. We've decided our show, but Game of Thrones was one of the four, I would say. But they decided not to go in that direction. I forgot what the reason was because it was like deep. It's like a lot of coverage. But we knew the way we did Good Earners, I said, bro, we would bring such a sauce to it. So, but I still want to do it. I never watched it more than once, the whole thing.
I've watched it like 3 times.
Oh, you ready then? You ready? Hey, man, look. All right, never mind. So anyway, I won't hold you up. Cersei Lannister, there's a scene in the last season where they're trying to get her out of there. Actually, they get her out of there, and they find out that she had her both her kids that were once kings was because of incest with the Kingslayer, which is her brother. And they make her get naked and walk through the city.
Shame.
And listen, bruh, it's ridiculous because you hate this character, and it's similar to Black Mirror's episode White Bear. If anybody remember White Bear, it's this chick. She looks black, British, black, whatever, and she's trying to get her memory. She can't remember anything, but everybody's walking around with phones.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah.
And then at the end, she's obviously, they're throwing tomatoes at the little, and then they do it all over again. So it makes you question your morality. So Cersei, when you see her walking and going through and they're getting busy and she's naked, you think like, yeah, she deserves it. But like midway through, you're like, damn, this is kind of a lot though.
Nah.
Now I definitely was like, at some point I was like, not that like, oh, she don't deserve because she did heinous acts, but it was like, damn, I was like, man, this is like crazy. But like eventually she get back in her bag, she get her swag up, and she freaking hits the red button and gets everybody up out of King's Landing.
The she got
that was so crazy,
wild.
When I seen that, I said, hey, yo, look, I don't care how much I didn't like her. She is a boss, and
you gotta give it to her.
Murked that. So Cersei Lannister, I once hated, but I've grown to respect. She's kind of really similar to a Richie Aprile to Sopranos for me. So, what's your last one? What you got, Mia G?
I have one where I didn't like her, and then I liked her, and then I kind of didn't like her again.
Oh, I gotta know how you got there.
So I have Sansa Stark.
Okay.
So in the beginning, she was like the only Northerner that I couldn't stand. She was such she was just a naive, vapid little princess, and you could tell like she just didn't have any. It was like she didn't have anything going on in her brain. She was so annoying. She didn't think for herself. She was very easily manipulated, easily influenced. And of course, as most viewers, I gravitated towards Arya because Arya, even though she was, she wasn't the typical little lady, she had a mind of her own and she thought and she stood on something. She had integrity even at a young age. And Sansa didn't have any integrity.
Was Sansa there when Ned got decapitated?
Yeah, she was.
Oh, so they both just had two different reactions.
Yeah. So that was part of it. Like she wanted to marry Joffrey. And she just thought she was so in love with Joffrey. She really just wanted to be queen. She wanted to live in the South. She wanted to live that life. And Arya was a fighter. But the way that she carried herself, like after they captured her father and her whole, my dad, he'll, he was sick. I can get him to confess, blah, 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 blah. And it was like, you just have no backbone.
Mm-mm.
You have no backbone. And when I started to come around to her character was when she escaped the
Ramsay.
So around the time when she was at the wall with John and wait, okay, I'm mixing it up because I can't remember.
Was it Theon Greyjoy?
When Theon was rescuing her from Ramsay.
Mm-hmm.
I felt like that whole situation with Ramsay kind of grew her up, even though it was awful and it was terrible that she had to go through that. It gave her a little bit more of a grip with reality, and it rounded out her character. She wasn't this little girl anymore. She was a woman who knew that she had to like get up and do something because she was like a little princess, even when she was in the veil with her aunt and that little 15-year-old breastfeeding cousin of hers. Like she was still just very, you know, around. She did start to come around a little bit around that time and start to be a little bit more like start thinking and using her brain a little bit more. She was a little bit manipulative in that time and helping Littlefinger, when her aunt turned out to be crazy. But I think I liked her when she decided that she no longer was looking to be rescued and taken care of.
Yeah, exactly.
She started to, have like some agency.
Hmm.
But then
She was the last in the family too. Like even the brother that had the prophecies was like, okay, this is what's going on. But she was like you said, she was very last. Like, bro.
I just couldn't stand it. She just was, oh, she was insufferable too.
Hmm.
But then once they introduced Daenerys into everything, I had to start side-eyeing her again because even though Daenerys did end up being a little loose, you know, upstairs, I felt like she made things so difficult for her brother because she just refused to, bend the knee to Daenerys. And it was like,
Yeah.
I get it, but at the same time, you're just being kind of unreasonable.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a great point, especially when you see why she married, was trying to marry Joffrey in the first place. So yeah, her character, like,
Ended up being Queen of the North really kind of pissed me off because I was like, what?
yeah, I was just like, yeah. There were certain moments they mailed it in, like you could tell, like when people's complaints, you understood. But there is, if you're into this, there's this fictional podcast that redid season 8 of Game of Thrones.
Oh shoot.
And they have voice actors that sound like the actors from the show. They got sound effects, everything. They rewrote season 8.
It needed a rewrite.
So if you're into that, I'll send it to you.
Yeah.
And they rewrote it, and I listened to it. I probably need to go back again because it was kind of fresh off of Game of Thrones, but the way they rewrote it in the voices and how they thought should end, it was definitely different. So if you're into it, I'll send it to you, and it's
Yes.
in a few episodes, but it's really good. All right, let's see Ash's last character.
Last but not least, this is multiple people, but I summed it up. These are all the little mini lawyers to be from How to Get Away with Murder. Annalise Keating, shout out to Viola Davis. That's another one of my girls. But all of the mini lawyers, I have them on here. Used to love them, then hated them. Because at this point, y'all was traitors. Y'all was traitors. Like, Annalise Keating did everything she could to try to keep y'all safe and keep y'all out of these things. First of all, a lot of the stuff that happened was y'all fault. But then as the seasons went on, y'all kept trying to paint the narrative that Annalise is the murderer. She's the conniving one. And it's like, first of all, check this out. All of y'all murdered my husband in my house. I wasn't even at the crib, right? Y'all hit him over the head with the little snow globe thing or whatever. And he freaking died, right? So she gets wind of it. She got, I forget, oh boy, the one that do all the hitman work. He was a solid dude. He was going to the grave when Annalise, boy, I can't remember his name, but he was a real one. Then you had the white chick that was also on the team. She kind of, I can't remember her name. She had her ups and downs. She started getting her feelings, all these things. But she had a whole squad to kind of help clean up and try to still mold you guys into being good lawyers, even though y'all was out here doing criminal activities, bro. Annalise Keating, she was cheating on her husband. He was cheating on her. She, all this. She was cheating with Nate. Big bald black man. I mean, come on now. Let's talk about it. You saw Nate. You saw him with a shirt off. I'm just saying. But anyway, yeah, man, like the mini lawyers have to go. I loved y'all because y'all was so ready to learn. They was ready to absorb knowledge and just they were so into it, just learning from the best. And then when shit kind of started going left, y'all just flipped the can on her, and I'm like, bro, it was making me mad. I'm not saying Annalise is innocent, but you youngsters, y'all couldn't hold it down, man. So, but there you have it, man. Wish I could be there with y'all, but these are my views, and these are my people, characters that I loved and now hate, and characters that I hated and now loved. And I hope y'all enjoy it, man. Holla at you later.
That is a great angle. What say you? We just alluded to How to Get Away with Murder.
That's just so funny.
I know. I know. I've been dealing with this all my life. That's why it's so funny.
Oh,
Like, you are
she
wild,
is
man.
hilarious. She is so funny. But no, I feel her. I feel her. Absolutely. Those little efforts.
Right. Exactly.
Oh,
Yeah, they absolutely.
great Lord. Poor
They turn
Anna.
their back on her like crazy, like
Because
trying to set up a case damn near.
talk about stressed out. Like, oh my God.
Yeah, that show, man. You know, that show, I pulled inspiration because of the writing style. The way they did that show, they kept like they would show the future and then show the present, and then they kept closing the gap further, like 2 days away. You know, they could start off 2 months ago, and then 2 months earlier, or whatever. That timeline gap. When I did my third season of Roll, I tried to write it the same way, which is a little more challenging from an audio standpoint. But I pulled directly from How to Get Away with Murder. I said, "Oh, I want to figure out how to keep giving these flash forwards and then closing the gap." You know. But
Okay. Love that.
yeah, that is just I love this type of stuff. So, but yeah, that show is great show.
I love
Shout out to my.
something that starts at the end and then goes back to the which okay, yes.
Oh yeah. Shout out to my brother, our brother, Bub, man. He the one put me on How to Get Away with Murder. So shout out to him. And
Shout out to the brother.
yeah. And so my last one and our last one for this episode, this TGIF, we really gave y'all a lot of meat and potatoes this episode. Last one's from Walking Dead.
What?
It is Negan. Listen to me.
Okay.
Shout out to my dad. Negan from Walking Dead. I think it was the end of season 5 or 6. I don't remember, but basically, Rick and our protagonists, they're trying to set up camp. They're trying to get stuff situated, and everywhere they go, Negan's crew is kind of stopping them, and everybody's saying, "I am Negan, I am Negan," and they think it's a crew. At the end of the episode, it's revealed that Negan is one person. He comes out with a bat with
Lucille.
Lucille, give me the strength, Lucille, and pretty much he does any mini money mo, and somebody gonna get the hell whipped out of him. That was a cliffhanger. People talk about that was one of the worst cliffhangers or whatever. Yeah, whatever. It's debatable. They come back next season. We see it play out. When we see who ends up getting killed, Glenn and I can't remember the redhead dude name. Damn. We get a 2-for-1 deal, and Negan pretty much bashes his whole head off. His head ain't even there no more. And then Glenn, one of our favorite characters, Maggie's fiance. And so when that happened, bro, I hated Negan. Like my blood was boiling. Every Sunday Walking Dead came out, I was like, get him! Like
wanted somebody to get him.
Oh my gosh. Like Rick, I remember Rick was getting close one time. I was like, oh, he about to get him, and he still didn't. Even when at the end of it, when Eugene came up with the fake bullets, because every Negan wasn't losing. Like, remember he got a hold of Carl make Carl take the patch off his eye, like make him look ugly. Like he had one dude, he threw him right into the incinerator. Like Negan was like, and then he got trapped in like a trailer with the preacher. You know what I mean? Like, bruh. But the fact of the matter is, they let him live, and they kept him for years and years and years. And I still kind of was hanging. I wouldn't watch it Walking Dead in real time, but I watched it, and I can't lie, I really started to like dude, because he was suck. He was so. I'm sorry. He's still terrible, but he was so charming. And me and my dad to this day get on the phone. We'll say anything. We'll talk about a story. Be like, hey, you do that again, and I'm gonna whip the hell out of you. Like we do this all the time. You say you can cry, you can breathe, but if you do that again, like we do this, or we be like, oh shit, oh what do we got here? Like it he was Jeffrey Dean Morgan. He was excellent as Negan, and bruh, I'm sorry, he was charming. He was entertaining, basically. He entertained me so much that I couldn't hate on him because I enjoyed to see what is this dude gonna do next. So Negan is a character that I hated that I actually loved, and even though we lost some real ones along the way. But at the same time, we got to remember, y'all, Rick with them was going to posts, all of Negan's posts, and they were choking people out and while they were asleep. Like we act like, let's not forget, like Rick Grimes is not a great guy. People forget that, but I still love Rick, no doubt. But so anyway, Negan for me from Walking Dead.
Listen, Rick was always on the defensive.
Not Negan. Not in the introduction of Negan though.
Okay, I'm gonna say this. I'll never forgive Negan for what he did to Glenn. Never, ever, ever, ever.
I know.
And the fact that he has a spinoff with Maggie is crazy. I need to watch it.
Why would you do that?
Because I'm curious. But no, Jeffrey Dean Morgan, I was introduced to him as Denny Duquette in Grey's Anatomy. Oh, if you know, you know. Heartbreaking loss of the character. Woo. And he fine to this day. But yeah. Ooh, that's a fine salt and pepper.
That's hilarious. A fine salt and pepper. The Shakers.
Seasoned.
You a fried me, I swear.
No, like I can see where you're coming from, but Negan was like one of those characters. He was up there.
Oh, yeah.
With like Joffrey, where I wanted somebody so bad. I was every episode when they didn't get him, I was like, why? Nobody. Ooh, I love
Daryl, somebody, Rick, Daryl, like,
somebody.
Yeah, man.
Because you cannot. Glenn was. I'm still heartbroken.
Mm-hmm. And we'll still even quote that Maggie. Like, yeah, sorry. Sorry.
No.
Oh man.
But I got you.
Did you watch The Ones Who Live?
I've watched like 2 episodes, but again, I didn't.
Yeah.
I haven't.
If you need closure, I think that you should watch. You can watch Dead City, but with them two, I try to get into, but I think I'm burned out on it now. The risk is not the same as the OG of it, but The Ones Who Live, like Michonne and Rick, I just needed that closure. In my head, that's the end of Walking Dead. Like,
okay.
So if you want closure, I would say go there, and anything else is just whatever.
I've watched the beginning of both spinoffs except for the one with Maggie and
the Dead City.
So I started Fear the Walking Dead. I watched that for probably like 2-3 seasons.
They started off really good.
Yeah, like it started off good. I liked seeing the beginning and how but it lost me.
Oh man, they tailed off. So bad.
They lost me.
Oh man.
Watched the first episode of Daryl Dixon.
Oh, I didn't watch that.
It was cool. It's different. It's weird. Like they have like it's you have to see it. Like he's in like Paris, and it's just it's different. Um, it was good though. I feel like the first episode was good.
Hmm.
But again, I'll be distracted. It's hard for me. I think it might be my ADHD. I rewatch a lot of shows over and over, like comfort shows, and starting something new sometimes can be really
I
difficult.
just seen a psychology about this online, actually.
Really?
Yeah, if I find it, I'll send it to you. There's a psychology about people when you watch the same show. It's something that helps like emotion and anxiety of knowing what's going to happen. It roots a certain comfort in those things. I gotta find it, bro. I said, yep, that tracks. Like
Yeah.
I understood it completely. So I if I can find it, I hope I can. It probably was on the Explore page, but if I can find it, I'll
Like
send it.
people be so mad at me when they recommend a show and now they're like, "Have you watched it?" And I'm like watching something I've already seen.
Oh, Ashley's like that too. Ashley's like that too all the time. I'm still trying to get her to watch Snowfall.
Oh, now I love
Yeah,
Snowfall.
I told her whenever you decide like what should I watch next, I said forget Sex in the City, forget Different World, go straight to
Watch
Snowfall.
Ash, watch Snowfall.
Come on now. And that's our episode, y'all, man. We thank y'all for tuning in, man. We've hopefully we made a great Friday for y'all, and it's so enjoyable. We are about to get into our next month theme rotation. We do this every month, and we just coming off of the heels of our what was it?
We
What was it?
did Dealer's Choice.
Dealer's Choice. Okay, because before that we did our sports movies. So now this month we're doing our Mother May I in the spirit of Mother's Day being in this month. And obviously we talked about the game Mother May I. So before we get out of here, Mia G, what film did you pick to go into our next month's theme of Mother May I?
This was a tough one for me because there are so many movies with interesting and strong mother characters, but I wanted to pick something that was a little off base, something that you and Ash may not have seen, but something that was on heavy rotation for me and Mama C when I was growing up. It was one of those movies we loved to watch together and we talked about and had really interesting discussions about. It was based on a true story. And we are going to do the 2001 film starring Drew Barrymore called Riding in Cars with Boys.
Oh, whoa. I've never heard of this. Hold up. Hold up. Drew Barrymore? Come on. It's called what?
Riding in Cars with Boys.
Ah, okay. And this, you said 2001.
Mm-hmm.
It's on Prime. I am, okay. Well, how did you pick this movie? What made you pick this one? I thought you were going way back, but 2001? Okay.
Yeah. So, okay. When we started talking about mother characters, I knew that likely it's super easy to pick like a likable mother character or a really, really evil mother character.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to do something that was different. I like things to be a little dark sometimes. And this isn't a dark. It gets dark at times in this movie, but it's very, very unique. Like the story is like when you watch it, you're gonna be like, wow. Like it's a very interesting story and it's based off of someone's memoir of their life.
Mm-hmm.
And I used to be like a big special features girl. So we had this on DVD and I would always watch it. I always watch the special features with the actual main character whose name is Beverly. And it is basically a story about her journey through motherhood and how she got there and what it was like for her. And it wasn't a pleasant story. Like we see a lot of children talking about their experiences with their mother, good or bad, but very rarely do we see a story of a mother telling her story about how hard motherhood was for her and why. And so this story has always been super interesting to me because she struggled through it and she didn't sugarcoat why it was hard for her and that she wasn't a perfect mother, and how she's tried to, make amends for some of the choices that she made. And me and my mom just really loved this movie when I was growing up. She introduced me to it because Mama C, where I take after her a lot, like she's a cinephile, I'm a cinephile. We both really love things that are based on true stories or based off of, someone's, book or something like that. And so as a tribute to my mom who introduced me to this movie and a movie we watch together all the time, it's a movie about a mother. And I think that you guys will really enjoy it.
See, that's not fair now because you didn't double entendre this whole thing. Because now it's like, okay, dang, it's like, to me, it's like, dang, what's a favorite movie of my mom's? But then it's like tying that thing. See, now I got to dig deeper because you really killed that. That's a double entendre. It's a movie about mothers that is a movie that your mother introduced to you that y'all both bonded over. That's pretty crazy, right?
I almost went back to like the like just after Black and White, but I thought that might be a little much.
I watched
I
Black.
think we
I
can
mean,
have
you
a
know,
whole.
I watched Twilight Zone, so the old Twilight Zone.
Now, if we ever do a category like on really old movies or like
What do we call? Is that vintage?
Hollywood,
Is that retro? I mean, I guess
I would say
noir.
vintage, or
Okay.
we could do like old Hollywood.
Old Hollywood. Yeah.
I
Okay.
have something for that. That also is like a mother story, but this one I think is different. I wanted something that I was pretty sure y'all hadn't seen
Yeah, I definitely haven't seen it.
because I want y'all to, and I know my mama's gonna love. She's gonna love it. Gonna love it, and I wanna get your thoughts on it.
Okay. Well, y'all heard it here. The next movie picked by Mia G is Riding in Cars with Boys, the 2001 film. So y'all stay tuned in. Hopefully Ash Bash will be back on business and we'll be doing the thing that we do. Y'all happy Friday. Hopefully y'all have a great weekend coming fresh off a birthday, another year older, but still keeping it childish. Y'all can reach out to us, childishgrownups3@gmail.com, or reach out to us on Instagram, childishgrownups, maybe _ podcast. I don't know. I never got it in front of me, but nonetheless, you can find us there.
Before we go,
yeah.
Mama C's birthday is Saturday, tomorrow.
Oh.
So happy birthday, Mommy.
Happy birthday. Dang, we that close in proximity. Like, yo, I can't wait to have her on the show, man. Oh yes. We're gonna have a lot of
want to
jokes.
do this one. I don't know. We're gonna see.
Oh, okay. All right. All right, Mama C, you always got a place here. For us stupid kids, we can all kick it, hang, and talk about movies. So, but thank y'all, man, for listening. Hopefully, y'all have a good weekend. Happy birthday, Mama C. Ash, we love you. We'll see you soon. Mia, wonderful time with you today. Peace out.